what's up, everybody? And thank you for tuning in to another edition of On the Needle. So it's been a long time since I've done one of these. If you're a subscriber to the channel or maybe just found yourself on the channel, then you've seen that I've also launched a new series of episodes called Revved Up, revelations about things that I've learned since turning 40 earlier this year, and just kind of random rants and things that I want to talk about, basically. Get to know a little bit more about me personally outside of these reviews. But let's get into it. So I had to come back with something that I felt like I really needed to dig into the crates and find something classic. So this is the one I chose to review today, Isaac Hayes' Chocolate Chip. So this album came out in 1975, a whole 10 years before I was born. And I got this, I know in several other videos, you all may have heard me speak about how my uncle found a whole bunch of records and he let me sift through them and pick which ones I wanted to keep. This is one of the ones I wanted to keep. I had never heard this album before. Now I had heard the song Chocolate Chip before. I love that one. So I said, okay, I'll give this album a try, see if it's good. I like Isaac Hayes. I think he makes great music, so why not, you know? And I'm so glad I did, because it's a no skip for me. So a little bit of history about this album. So this is his 7th #1 R&B #1 Billboard album and his last. And this was also the first album under Hot Butter Soul Records, which was his imprint after he left Stax Records, excuse me. So not a lot of songs. You know, I don't know if they recorded a ton and they were like, okay, we scrapping this one, we scrapping this one, we scrapping this one. And then it got down to these 7 tracks. Actually, if we're only counting vocal tracks, there's only 6. But whatever the case, they chose the best of the best, the hottest, freshest chocolate chip cookies to go on this album. And I mean, let's get into this album cover. So, I mean, you gotta love the simplicity. I don't know whose idea this was. Pretty cool, but it's like, okay, we're gonna have you in all black. It's not gonna be that much light, so it look like you peering out of the darkness, and you're gonna hold this cookie, and then you're gonna say, "Get me a bite of your cookie." But yeah, I don't know if that's what he really said, but that's what this photo is kind of giving right here. The back is just a plate of chocolate chip cookies. Now, mind you, they look a little crispy. Like maybe they stayed in the oven a little too long. Maybe that's just me. I love a gooey cookie. It can have a little crunch on the edge, but I want it to be more gooey. But black standard vinyl, not really any frills there. Of course, Isaac Hayes comes from that school of artists who he produces and arranges a lot of his own music. So he did that. He also served as a remix engineer on this album, along with Dave Purple, which I think is really, really cool. You don't see a lot of people, even in today's time, having that kind of artistry and musicianship in their music. So I think that's really cool. Not really anything special here with the packaging, although I will say it's cool that you have the production notes, liner notes here, along with the song lyrics. So that's pretty cool. And then this is the track listing here. So you can see the songs. As I mentioned, there's only 6 vocal tracks, 1 instrumental. And Isaac Hayes was hot on this album, because the center of this chocolate chip record is sex. You know, so I'm just gonna read a few of these lyrics here. The flames of love are getting higher, soaring through the chimneys of my mind, caught up in a whirlwind of desire, spiraling right up to the sky. Okay. The voice of love is calling, and once again I'm falling, and I can't turn around. My happiness is showing, and my love Jones is growing. All right. I'm a walking sex machine. I'm the slickest player on the street. I got Mac from way back, and my wardrobe stays intact. Boom. I get a kick out of this because whatever sexual innuendo, sensuality that was going on during this time, I'm sure back then some of that was a little bit risque, or dare I even say it, kind of taboo to hear in music. And if they only could see into the future today, my goodness, because there is some mystery, I believe, in some R&B songs, but a lot of it is straight to the point. There's no ambiguity. There's no mystique. None of that. It's just, hey, it is what it is. Get in this bedroom, lay it down, beat it up, type of, you know what I mean. But love this album, and I think it's a classic. It is one of my favorite records that I own, and one of my favorites from Isaac Hayes. So I'm curious to know if y'all have ever heard this record in its entirety. If so, what are your favorite songs? What do you think about it as a whole? And even what do you think about Isaac Hayes as an artist, even if you haven't heard this album? My two favorite tracks, even though I will say, as I mentioned earlier, that it is a no skip in my opinion, are I Want to Make Love to You So Bad and Chocolate Chip. Those are my two favorites. But like I said, y'all let me know what you think. And until next time, thanks for watching. Peace.